Chapter 8. If It Walks Like a Duck. Here's the quote. The difficulty lies not so much in developing new ideas as in escaping from old ones. John Maynard Keynes. The 800-pound AI in the room. So far in this book, I've suggested it's possible that one day artificial superintelligence and people will figure out how to truly resurrect the dead. And to support this possibility, I pointed out that technology will continue to advance. The necessary technologies are being worked on already, and we will eventually have artificial superintelligence to aid us. And I, for one, am not about to tell a zillion artificial superintelligence what they can or cannot do. It's like that old joke. What does an 800-pound gorilla do? The answer is anything he wants to. Well, what are zillions of artificial superintelligences going to be able to do? The answer is anything they can think of. And one more thing. I pointed out that this entire idea actually lines up with what people are reporting in near-death experiences, which lends it a bit more credibility. But all of this leads to one thought that smolders in our brain. If time travel, temporal engineering. Temporal engineering, by the way, is the idea that if we want to change the past, we do it by manipulating particles in the past rather than sending a whole person. But as I was saying, if time travel, temporal engineering, and technological resurrection are already happening, then shouldn't there be more evidence of all of this? The case against temporal engineering. I mean, we really have to ask ourselves at this point, if temporal engineering is already happening, then where is it? And this has always been the main arguments against time travel or temporal engineering of any sort, hasn't it? No matter how many times the idea goes on trial in the court of our mind, a steely-eyed prosecutor always walks out in front of our figurative mental jurors and says, "Then where are they? Where are the time travelers?" Dramatic pause. "There are none!" And that's all he has to say, isn't it? The judge slams the gavel down, dismisses the case, and everyone goes home. Admit it. We've all thought about time travel stuff at least once, right? We all watched Back to the Future, and then immediately went outside and said something like, "If time travel is ever invented, then I will travel back in time to right now and tell myself what the future is like and, give myself the lottery numbers." But nothing happened, did it? No future self popped up, and in fact, no time travelers have ever popped up anywhere. No messages from the future, nothing, nada. So, it can't be true, right? And yet, maybe we've been overlooking something that has been right in front of us this whole time. Something big. So it's time to submit some new evidence, Your Honor. Ghost aliens and angels, oh my. No time travelers here, no time travelers there, no time travelers anywhere. But strangely enough, there have been millions and millions of recorded instances throughout history where people have encountered supernatural beings they called aliens, ghosts, angels, demons, and so on. Interesting. In fact, 99% of people on this planet right now absolutely believe that beings from other dimensions are watching them, guiding them, fighting over them, thinking about them, and occasionally interfering with their lives. We call these beliefs religion and spirituality. And oh yeah, these beings all tend to know a lot about the future, don't they? So much so, in fact, that their messengers are called prophets. And so the plot thickens. But as different as all of these encounters are, they always have something in common. Whether it's the shimmer of a ghost, the push of an angel's hand shoving us out of the way of that speeding car, or that alien encounter with the probes we don't want to talk about, they always share one thing. There's never any proof. Skepticism aside for a moment, how could this be possible? And more importantly, why would these events be happening in such a secretive and hidden manner? No reason for supernatural beings to be so sneaky. Even in our age of ubiquitous cameras and surveillance, no one can seem to get a good video of any of these supernatural encounters. Frustrating, isn't it? Especially when it's so important. Just one good video could change the world, end all of the debates, give everyone a belief in the afterlife. But for some reason, while ghosts seem fine with haunting us in private, they never walk out onto a football field during the Super Bowl to get a better view. No, nothing like that. They only seem to appear when no one's looking and no cameras are filming. Furthermore, if you've ever taken the time to go through the zillions of testimonials about these encounters, it's clear that these ghosts never give anyone any useful information, do they? And haven't we all wondered about that? Someone's dead relative appears to them to comfort them, but doesn't communicate anything useful, like which religion is the true one? Seriously? These ghosts come all the way back from the dead just to smile at us for a moment? But they don't have the decency to provide proof of their presence or give us information about the afterlife? To end the religious conflicts that are tearing our world apart? And this is such a known part of spiritual encounters that people don't even wonder why anymore. Like some strange ancient custom, people have just accepted that this is the way it is. They've quit asking why, quit thinking about it. Roses are red, violets are blue, and ghosts are sneaky. And that's that. But maybe the time has come for us to finally think about it. Instead of just accepting these things, maybe we should realize that it doesn't make sense as to why all spiritual stuff has to be invisible and hidden. There's no reason for this hidden nature to spirituality. And also, violets aren't blue, they're violet. That's why they are called violets. Isn't it strange how we've always just accepted these things without thinking about them? I mean, imagine it. What if the kingdom of heaven and God's throne really appeared in the sky tomorrow? God could be sitting right there in a big white robe, a drink in one hand, watching us with a scowl. I don't think he'd be happy about what we were doing down here. And all of our dead relatives could be sitting right there in the clouds next to him, playing harps, looking down at us, probably pretty bored. What would happen? Well, for a week, everyone would probably freak out. And then, how long until no one cared? How long until most of the comments about the situation revolved around how God's throne was causing flight delays? Seriously. After a week, we would probably all just kind of accept that indeed, when we died, God would judge us and we would go to a heaven or hell. And we would live our lives with this belief in mind. But in the meantime, we would still order pizza, go to work, and look forward to catching our favorite show on Netflix. So, when we really think about it, no good reason has ever been given for the spirit world and everything to do with it to be hidden away in another dimension. None. Zero. Zilch. And this is what has led people who value reason and logic to dismiss all of these claims as lies and delusions. That and the fact that things like the ideas of gods chilling out on Mount Olympus have been proven to be false. People who love logic and science now just believe that these intuitive feelings of spirituality and religion, shared by almost all humans, must simply be primitive functions of the brain. These people also tend to believe that religions are really just institutions designed to control the masses, and that they are based completely on lies. Now, I'm not going to deny that at least some of this is true. People do lie a lot. We are delusional a lot. We are wrong a lot. And some institutions and individuals do use these feelings and beliefs to con people sometimes. This is all true. But man, there are so many testimonials. There has never been a single society of people that wasn't spiritual. Can so many people, almost all people who ever lived, be so wrong? With this in mind, maybe we should try and figure out if there is another explanation. Is there anything else that sounds like what these people are experiencing? Something more scientific that would allow for these events to be happening, while also explaining why they are so hidden and impossible to prove? Well, there sure is. There's something that sounds similar to these beings that people claim pop in and mess with them, but are super sneaky and leave no evidence. Time travelers. If it walks like a time traveler and quacks like a time traveler. Okay, suggesting time travel is possible or that all of these reports about spiritual and alien encounters might be time travel related is taboo in our society. I understand this. People shake their heads and look at us like we're crazy. However, 99% of the world believes in things like angels, spirits, ghosts, and aliens. I'm just pointing out that maybe we're all talking about the same stuff. And if people can talk to me about angels visiting them, then I feel I should be able to contemplate the possibility of time travelers. Fair is fair. And in my opinion, it makes sense. Think about it. If you've ever seen a movie about time travel, you know where I'm coming from. Time travelers are powerful, knowledgeable, and super sneaky. The exact same description as these supernatural beings people say they have encountered. And it's completely logical why they have to operate under the radar. Unlike spiritual beings, who should have no need to hide, time travelers have an obvious reason why they would have to. It's also logical why they would be powerful and limited in what they could do here. It's logical why they wouldn't be able to explain what they are doing. And it's even logical why they couldn't share too much knowledge about where they came from. Because they're trying to mess with the timeline without blowing it up entirely. In fact, these two different things, spiritual beings and time travelers, are so similar, in fact, that in every movie about time travelers, they're mistaken for angels, demons, aliens, or some other supernatural creature. Sometimes they even go along with it for kicks. Other times they reveal the truth. Maybe it's time we called a spade a spade. These spiritual beings aren't acting like the creators and caretakers of our reality. If I made a universe, I wouldn't have to sneak around in it or communicate through messages. No. The fact is that these testimonials of people's encounters with these beings make them sound far more like how we have always imagined time travelers would act. Except for one thing. These encounters are often with beings that don't seem human. A far cry from the men in jumpsuits we always imagined time travelers would be like. But you know what? With what we're seeing happen in technology today, this actually makes sense as well. And that's as much as I'm going to read in this chapter in this video. So chapter 8 part 2 will be in the next video, where we talk about more on the idea of time travel and spirituality.